The Daniel Jones era is finally over. He's gone. He is finally off the team. They're breathing a sigh of relief because they know he's not there anymore. Hey, sports fans, what's up, everybody? Hello, New York. To all my New Yorkers in here, hello and welcome. I am the Sports Judge, and if this is your first time, please smash the subscribe button and let's be friends. Apparently, everyone in New York is happy with the fact that the New York Giants announced on Friday that they would be releasing the embattled quarterback after his demotion. The folks should be glad. They should be jubilant with joy. All folks in New York and New Jersey now rejoice knowing he's no longer the quarterback. The nightmare is over. The people, the higher ups in the Giants front office slowly started to realize that they are the morons they thought everybody else was. I guess it takes time to accept that. It took them long enough, apparently, to finally come to their senses and suddenly get rid of this bum they had as a quarterback. GM Joe Shane finally woke up to see that Daniel Jones is not a very good NFL quarterback. I mean, I could have told you that. I've been saying that for a very long time about him. He's not a very good quarterback. There's no other way to describe him. I think what you're seeing is a GM who all of a sudden grew tired of Jones' struggles week in and week out and finally understood that he needed to pivot to cover his ass. Paying Daniel Jones was a mistake, and Shane finally doubled down after I felt that Shane was somebody in denial, and as uncomfortable as it may be, simply letting Jones go was, to me, a guy who finally realized his mistakes, his blunder. The Giants made a mistake. They let Saquon Barkley go. They foolishly paid Daniel Jones like he was some franchise quarterback, and then they prioritized the wrong guy. Salaries are justified by performance on the field, and unfortunately, Jones had not lived up to the standard of plan for the Giants since signing his 4-year, $160 million contract. Jones had gone 3-13 as a starter. He's thrown 10 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, has a passer rating of 75.0, 80 million stolen. And I talked about this. This man single-handedly scammed an organization out of 160 million. And what ends up happening to him? What ends up happening? He would eventually get cut less than 2 years later. And so when something like this happens, it's not just about the embattled player. It's somebody in that front office who was stupid enough to open their wallet and write the check. What? You thought Daniel Jones was going to say no to 160 million? You would be a fool not to take the money. And for Daniel Jones to be perceived as this horrible, bad quarterback is a big issue in New York, because we all know too well that if you underperform in New York, you will get called out for it and may not last very long. We just saw what happened to Daniel Jones. For him to be as bad as he was, the interceptions, the turnovers, the inaccurate throws, pick sixes, is an indictment against Jones. It spoke to how horrendous his campaign was. I mean, he was awful this year. He was really bad. The nation watched him go 1-14 in prime time. He's won more than 5 games in a season just once. The simple fact is, he is a bona fide scrub. It's time for some truth telling. For a player in his 6th year, it looked bad. Look, it was a disaster as far as I'm concerned. Jones was an absolute embarrassment for the state of New York. We know damn well he can't play, and yet he gets $40 million a year to be awful at his job. That's why he was benched by head coach Brian Dable on Monday and replaced by Tommy DeVito. And I mean, you can say the Giants also failed Daniel Jones as an organization. They gave him Swiss cheese for an O-line, never gave him weapons. They let their best offensive threat leave for a division rival where he's having a career year suddenly for the Philadelphia Eagles. And here's the thing. Your GM used to be David Gettleman, who set the franchise back by 10 years with his two big blunders, a running back, no matter how good he was at number 2 overall, and Daniel Jones. I'm not trying to make excuses for Daniel Jones, but this is on Jones as much as it's on everybody else within the organization. That was every freaking game. He looked terrible every time, he was out there. If you can't play, you just can't play. It was always something with him. There's a long list of mistakes he made that cut his career short. The same mistake made a million times is not a mistake. Things quickly went wrong. Daniel Jones asked for his release, and he got his wish. That's why he had the presser and answered questions from the media. And I think he knew he would never play another down with the New York Giants. I think he knew it was officially over. They, weren't going to let him practice or anything because they didn't want him to get hurt. That's why he went from starting to third string, is because they couldn't afford for him to get hurt in any fashion. If he gets hurt, I want to say that $23 million of it kicks in as guaranteed. The outside public, you and I know Daniel Jones is a backup quarterback at best. And you can't win when you have someone who is extremely inaccurate, very slow processing, unable to go through progressions, inaccurate deep balls, and just is an inconsistent decision maker. And the Giants, they are what they are. And they weren't going to improve anything with Daniel Jones as quarterback. And you're going to have people coming to his defense, obviously, saying things like it wasn't his fault. The Giants are a clown show of an organization, and they're the ones who gave him that big contract. This team is becoming a joke. So what's next for the New York Giants? Are you going to draft Sanders and hire his father to complete the circus in New York? It was time. I do know this. It was time to move on from Daniel Jones. He just wasn't talented enough. There's a place for him in the NFL, but I don't think he'll be a starter again. As a backup quarterback, yes. As a third string, sure, why not? But a starter? No. No. I don't think he'll ever get another opportunity to start at quarterback. Those days are behind him. Very little about his game screams franchise quarterback. It became increasingly clear he had many glaring flaws, the many question marks that raised concerns about his game. On Thursday, following practice, benched quarterback Daniel Jones stood in front of the New York Giants media, called, playing for the organization a dream come true, and said that he was 100% accountable for his role in New York getting off to a 2-8 start. On Friday, Jones asked for and was granted his release from the team. In a statement posted on social media, the Giants called the quarterback a great representative of the organization, pointing to his handling of the situation and directly referencing his comments to the media. Jones is expected to clear waivers on Monday, and he will then be a free agent, able to sign with any team in the league. There are also some financial implications here for the Giants. Jones was due $30.5 million in 2025 with a cap number north of $41 million, I want to say. But releasing him now means New York takes the full $22.21 million dead cap hit next year instead of the $41.605 million dead cap number next season. Thus, the release also sees the Giants save nearly $20 million in 2025 cap space, plus the cash association with his 2025 contract, and the quarterback is fully off the books in 2026. Finally, the Giants realized how much of a mistake it was to pay Daniel Jones. It was at this moment they were willing to admit they actually made a bad choice by signing Daniel Jones. At least they finally realized it and accepted the fact Jones finessed them with his one breakout playoff game where he looked like the second coming of Joe Montana. That is how he got that contract, folks. That is why he got paid $40 million a year. That is why they locked him up to a long-term contract that was worth $160 million, because they saw what he did in one playoff game, and judging by his playoff performance, that earned him a pile of cash when he really was never that franchise quarterback that they thought he would be. And they finally have moved on from him. Daniel Jones no more in New York. Now it is Tommy DeVito, and now we're going to see what he does. But either way, the year is over for the Giants. It's officially over for the Giants. They will have to try it again next year, and I'm pretty sure this is a team that's going to draft a quarterback next year. I'm pretty sure of it. I'm certain of it, that they're definitely going to draft a quarterback next year, and I think Brian Daboll will be back with the team at least another year. I don't think you fire him. I don't think you fire Joe Shane. I think Joe Shane gets one more year. But I'm telling you this, if they don't correct this next year, or if they don't fix this next season, then yes, everybody's gone. I think it's time that you would have to clean house, if you're the New York Giants. But again, Daniel Jones is out as the quarterback. He's not only benched, he got released by the team. And now he can move on. And now the New York Giants can go on without him. Thanks for watching, everyone. Really appreciate the love and support as always. That's so awesome of you guys. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you guys so much. We'll talk again very soon. It is damp and moist today here in Southern California. It's been raining off and on today here in Southern California, but it's actually nice because we haven't had this kind of weather in a while, so it's actually nice for a change. Maybe in tonight's UCLA game at the Rose Bowl, maybe it'll be a wet one out there. I don't know, but it's been raining off and on today, but we'll see what the weather will look like in the coming days, in the coming weeks. But right now, I'm okay with it. I'm content with it. But anyways, guys, I'm out of here now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out the content as always. I'll be back with more content. You best believe it. Take care, everyone.